Mm, What's up, Frag family? Back at you with another one. So I have my best and my worst pickups from January 2025. I have this ranked from 10 to 1. Guys, let me know what you picked up in the month of January for 2025. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Sensavant, let's roll the intro.
Welcome to Sensavant, and welcome to the sensational world of fragrances, where every spray tells a story and every note captivates the senses. Join me on a journey of olfactory exploration as we uncover the secrets of the most alluring scents on the market. Welcome to
Sensavant.
All right, before we get rocking and rolling, my scent of the day today was MFK Amorous Pour Homme, the extrait version. And today I was kind of like going back and forth with, do I want something that is super bright and refreshing, or do I want something that's super dark? And I thought, well, let's try to have best of both worlds. And so came up with this one. And this is such a good fragrance. Now, this can work in any season. It really does work well in this colder season, but it really works amazingly also in that real hot season where you're at nighttime and you want something that has some dark qualities, but also has some light, fresh aspects to it. It's super mass appealing, easy going, but at the same time, extremely unique. And there's nothing that smells like this. And this highlights this amorous note. Amorous is has a slightly woody, slightly vanillic, almost the slightest bit of smoky undertone. And this has some freshness from like Sicilian mandarin. It has an iris in it, and the iris really plays to smooth it out. It's not powdery, it's not makeup baggy. There's a vanilla, a saffron, a tonka bean to sweeten it up. And really what you're getting is this super pleasant, along the lines of a mass appealing fragrance that's super unique, that doesn't smell like anything on the market. It's clean without being soapy. It's mass appealing without being generic. It's fresh shower gel, but if that shower gel was at like the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, pure luxury. And that scent of the day is MFK Amorous Pour Homme Extrait. Okay, new pickups of 2025 January. And this guy is a really interesting one. And they had this on Sense Angel for a dumb cheap price. This is Carner Barcelona's Magelium, whatever. The most photorealistic cinnamon spiced fragrance you will ever come across. It really highlights the note of cinnamon. If you ever smelled a red hot or had those hot tamales, but like pretty much like a Mike and Ike's Red Hot, like the candy, where it's slightly sweet, slightly deep, and it highlights that sort of spicy, really effervescent, aromatic cinnamon. That's exactly what you're getting here in this opening. So this is not going to be for everyone. In fact, it almost didn't even sound appealing until I got it in, and I'm still working through it. I'm not sure if this is my type of style where this is something I would go for. But there are going to be somebody out there who's like, yeah, I want to smell like cinnamon sticks. Now, this cinnamon opening is extremely photorealistic, and you're getting that, like, yeah, like Big Red Gum. Remember Big Red Gum, how you would chew it? That's exactly what this smells like, where it's a little bit fresh and effervescent, and that cinnamon is really kicking through. As this goes in towards the early mid, I'm talking 15 to 30 minutes into the fragrance, that cinnamon starts to pull back, which I really do enjoy because I want that opening, but I don't want it to stay like that the whole time. And that's what makes this fragrance even palatable, is where that cinnamon pulls back, and now this amber resin, deep vanillic, sweet, spicy oriental facets start to take over and really push through, and that cinnamon steps back. It's probably at the beginning, it's 100% of the composition. You can't smell anything else. 15 to 30 minutes in, it's pushing back, and it's like 30 to 40% of the composition where it's in the background. And so that cinnamon spice is really nice. But when those resins and that vanillic aspects and that myrrh and tonka bean sweetness come forward, that's when I enjoy this fragrance. So for me, in the opening, I could leave it or take it. So that's Carner Barcelona's Magellum. If you want to smell like a cinnamon stick, bam, there you go. Next up on the list at number 9, this is Jacques Fath's Vers le Sud. Vers le Sud. And this, I had a decan of this years ago. I saw this on Fragrance Net for like $50. This is the 200 mil. Normally, this is a lot more expensive. I believe they still have it on Fragrance Net for $50 plus tax. So I think it was like 57. Great buy for that. What you're getting is a very light, ethereal, fresh, garden-esque green vetiver with a seaside salty aspect. The saltiness is very minuscule. The seaside is very done well with a light-handed touch, and the vetiver is very clean, a very clean vetiver. And this is fresh. This is like gym wear, beach wear. It has a little florals in it. It has a soapy aspect to it. So very nice for the price point. $50, 200 mil, can't beat it. Soapy, clean, seaside vetiver, a little bit of green, aromatic, seaside saltiness aspect. Oceanic a little bit, but more into that really clean vetiver. Think things like Creed's original vetiver or Tom Ford's vetiver. Clean ones, the light ones, the watery ones. This is very watery. It doesn't smell like those, but it's in that same vein. They would almost be cousins. So for number 9, at a good buy, Vers le Sud by Jacques Fath. Okay, and the next one I got, I had really high hopes for this. This was blind buy. Sometimes I'm a blind buy warrior. The Merchant of Venice Regatta. And man, all I got to say is it's really good, but for the price point that they're asking for, it's a no. It is super unique, but at the same time, it's very generic and mass appealing. The notes are unlike anything else that's out there. What I'm getting from this is a marine, slightly creamy, ambery, salty, woody fragrance. And there's fig, and then there's red algae at the top. And this red algae adds this uniqueness. It feels a little red. It feels a little green. It feels a little bit earthy. It also feels marine aspect from the salt and the wood tones. There's an immortelle in the mid, and then there's a vanilla and amber base. And that creaminess is really coming from that vanilla. That amber sweetens it up a little bit. That vanilla really adds a creaminess. And mind you, like really nice fragrance. Sprayers are decent. Really nice fragrance. You really smell this like red algae at the top. It's super unique where you don't smell anything like that. But for the price point, like it's super generic. And this fragrance is weird in a way where it projects, but it's not a thick fragrance. So it has like the performance of a designer, which is really weird for such a niche smelling fragrance. Honestly, if this fragrance was $100 or under, banger, well worth it. I think I got it for $130 when it originally came out for $330 or something like that. So I'm not too mad. I'm gonna keep it. I like it. I do wear it. It's like it's supposed to mimic like you're walking around coming out of a woodworking shop on the canals of Venice. So you're smelling the water in like Italy, and that saltiness and brininess is coming up. That wooden aspect from the boats and the planks are coming up. And you're really getting that. You're really getting this feel of an Italian gentleman. And it's nice. It has that nice mass appealing. Like somebody's going to smell you, and this is going to smell very nice and sexy and a little shower gel like, a little unique, a little salty, a little earthy, a little woody. But for what it is, I had to put this at whatever this is, 6 or 7, because this really didn't hit like I wanted it to. This is Merchant of Venice Regatta. All right, so this guy, the Scent of Woods, Vetiver and Chestnut. Now, to be totally honest, this wasn't a buy in January 2025. I've actually had this for like 2 years. I used to get those sample boxes every month, and you would get the candles, and you would get 3 scents, and you would get a bunch of stuff. And I got those for years and years and years. And I've tested almost every fragrance in the line. There's been a handful that I've really liked. So I've sat on this because I just didn't sound really good, Vetiver and Chestnut, and I didn't really even look at the notes. And a couple weeks ago, I pulled this out and I sprayed this on my hand, and I was super surprised and kind of blown away, shocked at what I got because this wasn't a Vetiver or it wasn't a Chestnut fragrance. This came off as a very soft, supple, everyday, work appropriate, slightly iris, orris, slightly vetiver fragrance with a woody backbone. It didn't smell like chestnuts or sweetness. It doesn't smell like over vetiver. It really has a soft aspect to it. And I really enjoyed it. So I've been wearing this. I'm going to run through this, and who knows? We'll see if we get a bottle. But it was worth a good mention. And I put this on. This was totally different than I expected. And that's why I always say put it on skin because you don't know what you're going to get. You think the notes may press the fragrance to do one thing, and the fragrance does a whole nother thing. Simply an aromatic, woody, spicy with vetiver and black pepper and an iris that runs through this to smooth out the composition and add a butteriness. Very mass appealing, very work appropriate, very unique. Really enjoyed this. If this could match up to anything that I could give you an example of what it may be like, a little bit like D600, and I've done a full review on this where this is just very nice. It's unique. It's a little hidden gem. This, for somebody probably in the age range of 35 to 50, is a hidden gem for workplace, for at home, for the days where you're in your library and you're reading. This is Vetiver and Chestnut by Scent of Woods. Okay, next guy. I was sent this from a fragrance store that I buy a lot of fragrances from, and they sent me a care package. They weren't like, hey, review this. They were just like, hey, thank you for being a good customer. Here's some free stuff because we love your business. So this is Fragrance Du Bois, New York, Fifth Avenue. Now, this is another one that, like, I sat on this for a couple months because I was like, I have enough rose and ouds and ambers, and I'm like, whatever. Fragrance Du Bois, sure, it's good, but like, how good can it be? I already have 6 others. Well, I pulled this out a couple weeks ago, and you can see I've worn half of it, and I'm like, I was blown away. I'm not even joking that this is one of the best rose ouds that I've ever smelled. That is very easy to like. I put it in the same space as Mason Francis Gertjon's Oud Satin Mood, except Oud Satin Mood can be a little bit oppressive. Like, this scent almost doesn't go away, and when it's on, there's this deepness to it that I enjoy it. I love it. I have the 200 ml, keeping it, love it. But Fragrance Du Bois, Fifth Avenue, did something different that honestly is more appealing to me. And I'm just not sure how much rose ouds I need. I'm thinking, like, do I need to sell this to get this? Because that's how good I like this. And in a lot of ways, I like this Fragrance Du Bois better than I like this Oud Satin Mood. And I love both of them. This is a cult classic from MFK. Well, this thing, it's pure, it's good, it's a little citric, it's a little ambery, it's vanillic. That rose is really highlighted. It's a jammy rose. It's not a super red rose. It's a little bit herbaceous. It's a little bit sweet. And that oud is very palatable. It doesn't feel like it's oppressive at all. This feels so elegant. Now, MFK is super elegant, right? If this is on a scale of 1 to 10, if this is an 8 out of 10 on elegance, I really feel like this Fragrance Du Bois is a 10 out of 10 on elegance. So for me, Fragrance Du Bois Fifth Avenue is a winner. And if I could find this for $150, $200, I'm picking up a bottle ASAP. Really love this one. Enjoyed this. Glad I pulled this out and gave it a full testing because I didn't have high hopes for it and it blew me away. That's Fragrance Du Bois Fifth Avenue. Okay, the next up, I've had this fragrance years ago. And I decided to pick up another bottle this month because I found it for a good price. and I just adore it. And this is very nostalgic for me. Now, this is Montale's Fougeres Marine. What this smells like high school to me, a niche version of high school, an upgraded version. So in high school, I had a lot of colognes. I had the Tommies, I had the Hugo Bosses, I had the Clinique Happies, had the Versace Blue Jeans, had a few of those type of everyday popular fragrances that were popular back then. Well, this smells like the original Tommy, except it's spicier, it's a little bit more minty, and it's way stronger. It really has this oceanic, aromatic, green, sort of blue, peppery seaside aspect. And this fragrance has always been very strong for me. It's always given me a lot of compliments, super mass appealing, but added in some extra oomph to give it a niche edge while still having that basic same DNA that Tommy Hilfiger used to have in high school. Gosh, this is so good. It's nostalgic for me to where when I smell this, it brings me back memories. Like the Hugo Boss from 2007, where you're getting that generic smell. This is that. Perfectly safe, but it has an aromatic edge. It has this mintiness in there where it feels effervescent. Now, I don't like mint fragrances, so this doesn't turn me off to mint at all. It really just adds this freshness, this zestiness, this zingy, aquatic. It feels blue, like there's a generic blue running through it. And Fougeres Marine will always be a go-to, perfect for the office, perfect for any setting occasion. You know, you want to wear a collared shirt, cool. White t-shirt, cool. This is strong enough to perform in the winter, but summer banger for sure. Easy to like, lovely. Montale really had some strong fragrances. This kicks up that strength really well. That's Montale's Fougeres Marine. Okay, top 3 buys of January 2025. And I've talked about this at the end of last year for my trip to Hawaii. I've had probably 15 to 20 ml decants of this fragrance over the last couple of years, and I finally was able to find a good price for it right at the beginning of January, like January 1st, while I was in Hawaii. I ordered this. I only brought a 5 ml to Hawaii because I knew if I brought this bottle to Hawaii, I would have worn it all. So I ordered it knowing it wouldn't get here until I got back. This is Precious Liquids Blue Agave. And for me, this is my favorite plain, everyday, unique, marine, seaside, salty fragrance. It's floral, it's aquatic, it smells like algae, it smells like kelp. It's the upper echelon of blending and strength and uniqueness. There's a little bit of florals, there's a lot of blue, marine, oceanic, sea salty, aquatic vibes, touches running through this. Blue yet rich, slightly woody. It's delicate but lush at the same time. Salty. There's a lime note in the top. There's this driftwood. There's this sage. And although there's no florals in this, this is blended so well that it gives this feeling of refinement, like a soft and bold character. Like you almost think there's some florals way in the background that are adding to lift this fragrance, but there's not. And so good. Salty. There's an agave note in this, and I believe that little bit of sweetness comes from that. And that sweetness is just there to play counterpart to that woody, salty, lime, sage, aromatic, blue. So good. My favorite marine. So bought a bottle. Now I have a bottle. I'll be good for a long, long time, if not forever. And that is number 3 of my favorite pickups of January 2025. Okay. And number 2. This was the last of the pickups of the cologne line for Thameen London. This is Bohemian Infusion, which is part of their Britillon collection. Now I have all 5 of them, and I love them. If you know me, you know that I'm a fresh cologne type of guy. A nod to the older days of the classic cologne structured fragrances with a modern twist. This has the fresh notes of the Nerolis and the citruses and the bergamots up top, but then there's these amber and these myrtle and ginger, and Artemisia and abroxan, patchouli, labdanum, amber-esque, deeper notes that juxtapose this freshness in this. There's a black currant at the top, and it doesn't feel super fruity or floral. It just feels green and drippy sweet at the same time. There's a cardamom in this that's a little bit of spice to it. This does feel gingery. This is like in the same league as Frederick Mall's Uncut Gem, but where Uncut Gem was a little bit generic, and I really like this one. By the way, if you like this one, Duet has a clone of this that is fantastic. But this guy, Bohemian Fusion, it's green. It has like this almost floral aspect that feels like it's way in the background and it wants to pull forward, but then it like starts for the first 15 minutes, then it pulls back, and you're just getting this fresh, deep, aromatic, resinous, gingery, spicy, grapefruity, petitgrain, green, spicy, blackberry, fresh cologne style fragrance. I love this. If this were to be in, top three of Fanfare, Boldest Love, I would do Fanfare, Boldest Love, and then Bohemian Infusion. But I like them all. I'm wearing them all. You can see I just got this a couple weeks ago, and I've already used it a bunch. Going to keep on using it, loving it. So for me, this is a winner at number 2 of favorite pickups of January 2025. And at number 1, and I've been scoping this fragrance out for over a year now. So this is Matin a Mogador by Botanicae Expressions. Now, honestly, has stepped up to top 20, top 30 in my collection for favorite fragrances, for uniqueness, for composition, for mixing, for smell. I was blown away when I smelled this. Now, this is really important, I want to say. And I want to say this to my viewers, and I want to say this to reviewers that review other perfumes. You got to wear these fragrances before you talk about them. You got to test them. When I first put this on, I just enjoyed it. The first 2 or 3 times, I just enjoyed it, and I loved it. And I think the third time or so, because I've worn this 5 or 6 times. The third time I'm out and about walking around, and it's reminding me of something, and I'm thinking, what is this that it's reminding me of? It's slightly in the vein of this. I just can't pick it up. I know I smelled something like this, or I have something in my collection that does something like this, but I just can't pick it up. And probably the 5th or the 6th time, I think the last time I wore it, I was like, hold on. I think I got it. I think I remember what this is like. And this is why you need to wear it a bunch of times so you can allow your memory to jog. You can allow your mind to connect what this new smell that you've never smelled before kind of smells like. And would I get a lot from this? Probably 60% of this composition is the Spirit of Dubai's Abrage. Now, if you've heard about this one and talked about this one, and EQ Quality Fragrances talks about this, a lot of people talk about how good this is. This is really good, but this is a shell of this. This is so much better. Any day, anytime, I will pick this Botanicae Expressions over Abrage. So this fragrance is so hard to explain. First of all, this fragrance is so well blended, no one note sticks out through the life of this fragrance. Maybe as it gets deep into the dry down, you start to get a little bit of like this ambery-esque poking through, and that amber-esque is almost like a little bit of the Mason Francis Gerchon's Grand Soir amber, but not really distinct, just a little bit. But the notes are so well blended that this thing just feels like one whole composition that sets a mood. This thing is a mood. It's a vibe. This is the one. It's beautiful. It's soft, spicy, aromatic. It's a little bit floral. It's green. It's woody. The greenness is toned back down, but this greenness is like a little dampness. This woodiness is like a woodiness of pure wood that I really haven't smelled so clearly before. A little bit powdery, violet, amber, wood. citric, like almost the tiniest bit animalic, maybe a little leathery if I'm like pulling it out, a little floral. Notes are everywhere in this. There's a ton of notes. There's 6 to 12. There's like 18 notes in this. So really, like, okay, top notes: violet, leather, cumin, bergamot, verbena, benzoin. Middle notes: geranium, iris, nutmeg, rose, clary sage. Base notes: amber, patchouli, vanilla, vetiver, civet. There's civet in this. Dude, this is amazing. This is a niche heads, and like, if somebody who doesn't smell fragrances smells this, they will absolutely like this. This smells like it came from like the Chanel, like pour on, like the lace exclusive line. This smells like an exclusive. This makes me want to dive headstrong into Botanicae fragrances. I don't know what the others are going to be like. Maybe I'll be disappointed. Doesn't matter, because this is a banger. This has worked its way up instantly to where I'm like, dude, I'm like thinking like, do I need this anymore? Because I have this. You know, it's just, is it kind of redundant? Because I'm going to pick the Botanicae every time I'm thinking I want to pick something like this. Abrage is a little bit fresher because it's a little lighter. This is still fresh, but it's darker. You know, I don't know who said that the Barrage lasts a while, because it doesn't. This is my second bottle of this. I'm getting max 5 to 6 hours out of this. Hey, that's fine. That's probably all I need in that type of situation. The Botanicae, I'm getting over 8 hours. Easy. This thing is strong in a beautiful way. And for the first 2 hours, it really pushes past 2 feet. Then 2 to 3 hours in, it starts to sit closer to the skin, but never becomes a full skin set until 6 to 7 hours in. It's always kind of radiating and pushing and just living around my space. This feels like, again, if they put this in a Chanel bottle and put this in the exclusives line, bro, there's a complexity here. This is the second hardest fragrance that I've ever had to describe that I have trouble with because of how unique it is. I have nothing to really compare this to. This is amazing. This, to me, is one of my favorite pickups of definitely this year and already going into last year. Definitely going to be talking about this and hyping this up quite a bit, because for what it is and for the price, I think you can get this on Sense Angel for around $130. For that price, this is absolutely worth it. Beautifully executed, also appealing, and it's going to be one where a lot of people are going to love it, and then some people are going to go, oh yeah, that's really good, but I would rather choose that. This is not a hate it or love it. This is a love it or I like it. It's a love it or like it, which to me is better than a hate it or love it. So Botanicae Expression Matin a Mogador, #1 pick of January 2025. We'll be hearing a lot more about this. Thank you, family, for stopping by. Thank you for being part of this journey. Hey, you guys have been giving me great suggestions. I have been buying samples on samples of the stuff that you guys have been suggesting. Hey, somebody out there suggested once perfume, and they wrote a list of a few of them. I know I saved it, but I can't find the list. If you guys are watching this video that suggested once perfume and you wrote the ones to suggest, let me know, because Sense Angel has them for like, I think like $25 or $30 for the 100 mil. And I want to get a few. I just don't want to grab them ones that I don't know. But appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. Love, peace, and journey onto this new thing. And guys, you don't need to get 10 fragrances every day or every month or every 2 months. Let me do it. Let me weed through the nonsense, and then you pick the stuff that you feel is valuable for your collection, right? Don't just go and buy fragrances because all the reviewers got to buy fragrances and it makes you feel like you need fragrances. You don't need fragrances. I'm actually getting to the point now where I'm buying a lot more 5 and 10 mil decants so that I can test them, because at this point with, I don't know how many fragrances I have, I just don't need to keep on adding to the list, right? So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, comment in the comment section things that you like, new pickups. I comment back. I like the interaction. I'm not going to be here and not have time to talk back. And hey, if This is what it's about. I'm a regular dude. I'm going to talk to you like a regular dude. I don't care if I have 100,000 subscribers or 100 subscribers. I'm going to talk to you like a regular dude and give you your due just time because I enjoy the people, the interactions. Okay? So love and peace, fam. Hope you're liking the new haircut. I don't care if you're not. Scent Savant. Love you. Out.
Scent Savant.